what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. CNET reports, is NASA one step closer to warp drive? And if you read through the article here, it says here, quote, potentially good news for those who want to zip around our solar system and beyond at speeds approaching that of light and maybe even faster. NASA, according to NASAspaceflight.com, is quietly claiming to have successfully tested a revolutionary new means of space travel that could one day allow for such insane speed and to have done it in a hard vacuum like that of outer space for the first time. The technology is based on the electromagnetic drive, or EM drive, and it goes on to talk about how it's complicated and whatnot. Here's the deal, guys. This is dissemination of information that the elite have held on to for a very long time, and I think specifically for about a century. Now, the reason why I say that is because of a man named Nikola Tesla. Tesla, as you guys are probably pretty familiar with, was a scientist. He discovered basically free energy based on electromagnetics, and there's a lot written about him, there's a lot said about him, but there's one thing that I think most people don't know. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and read for you a short little segment from a chapter that was actually scrapped. I didn't include this chapter in the book that I'm writing right now. It's still in the process. It's being edited and all that stuff. And I don't really have a timeline because every time I set a date for the book, it just keeps getting pushed back. So I'm not going to set a date for the book release, but this was a little segment that was not included in the book, but nevertheless, I think will help us understand what's going on with this whole news with NASA having this EM drive being tested, okay? So let me go ahead and read it for you. In a book entitled Occult Ether Physics, Tesla's Hidden Space Propulsion System and the Conspiracy to Conceal It, William Line proposes a theory that seems to fit the overall thesis of this book. In short, Line believes that there has been a massive cover-up by a secret elite in the last century of the greatest discovery, or as I say, the rediscovery in human history. Ether physics. At the center of this rediscovery was Nikola Tesla. Quote, Tesla's original vision in his 1870s student days of his ideal flying machine was an electro-propulsive one, the realization of which is why he said he originally entered the field of electrical science in 1875 in the first place. Line goes on to talk about how Tesla continued to pursue this lifelong goal of producing an electro-propulsive craft, but was met with opposition not from any form of competition, but merely by way of the elite class attempting to control the developments for themselves. Line brings up Tesla's attempt to gain the interest of the US government in some of his developing technologies. According to Line, in an unpublished article, Tesla is quoted saying, quote, we should push the development of flying machines and wireless transmission of energy without an instant's delay and with all the power and resources of the nation. The immediate association here is between flying machines, not aeroplanes, and wireless transmission of energy. Tesla had piles of patents which produced him no money because the Morgans and Rockefellers had declared them off limits. No one could borrow money from the banks to put one of these systems into practice, and anyone who was foolish enough to do so on their own money could expect the wrath of the gods to come down on them like lightning bolts from Zeus. Now, Line goes on to say that Tesla kept some of his discoveries close to his vest because he knew that if the heart of his discoveries were made public or found in the wrong hands, they could be used for great evil. But his intentions all along were to make such technologies widely available to the global population. Those who were preventing this from happening were the power elite, whose industry would have been thwarted in the process. Quote, Tesla never seemed to fully realize that Morgan's pseudo-philanthropism was nothing more than a scheme to compromise Tesla's contract with himself, and a way of falsely including Tesla's reliance on others rather than on his own self-reliance. This treatment set Tesla back emotionally as well as financially and technically, and reduced him at one point to a heap of groveling nerves, literally begging Morgan to make good on his promises, to no avail. The only power that Tesla seems to have left was that of withholding his discoveries from the world to protect his secrets from the pilfering paws of the looters, unless he could receive the compensation and credit which he deserved. But that didn't matter, because they got it all before his corpse was cool, and never paid him so much as a dime for his trouble. Now, in this book, Occult Ether Physics, Tesla's Hidden Space Propulsion System and the Conspiracy to Conceal It, William Line actually goes into quite a bit of the science behind it, and tries to explain how this electro propulsion works. But here's the bigger deal here. The fact that Tesla was tinkering with this technology over 100 years ago, and the fact that now NASA's suddenly coming out of nowhere, seemingly, with this new EM drive, tells me that the elite are getting ready to disseminate the information. I think too many people have seen things in the skies, and I think whoever's behind the global elite, they're going, okay, we got to start disseminating some of this information because we need to make it seem like we're making progress, when really, they've been hiding this technology for a very, very long time. And remember, Ben Rich, who was the head of Lockheed Martin Skunk Works from 1975 to 1991, I've quoted him several times, but let me give you another one here. He said on January 5th, 1995, he said, "Jim, we have things out in the desert that are 50 years beyond what you can possibly comprehend. If you have seen it on Star Wars or Star Trek, we've been there, done that, or decided it was not worth the effort." Okay, that's actually Ben Rich in a letter that went back and forth between him and Jim Goodall. And again, the fact that he's talking about Star Wars and Star Trek, light speed, all that stuff, and this article referencing the same thing, this, approaching the speed of light, light speed, which is from Star Wars and all this stuff, they are definitely trying to publicize this technology so that they can deploy it. And remember, the people that have total control of this technology are the global elite. They're not going to give it to the common man. And this is pure speculation here, but perhaps what the mark of the beast represents and this idea that you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have the mark could be talking about access to such technologies as part of this buy or sell type situation. I mean, again, just pure speculation, but it could all tie in, especially with all the technologies that are being disseminated. And finally, they're starting to slowly roll out this technology that they've held on to for, close to 100 years. So keep your eyes out for this, guys. This is nothing more than more propaganda from the global elite because they know that time is short and they need to start rolling some of this information out because there's too many people, I think, like myself, like you watching this video, like others who have done great research, regardless of whether they're Christian or not. There's a lot of great researchers in ufology that have talked about this whole idea of a secret space program, and it's pretty public now. We know what's going on. So what do? They use the front organizations like NASA to start to disseminate the info. So that's about it, guys. Keep an eye out for this stuff, but remember, as these things begin to happen, look up, because our redemption draws nigh. God bless, guys.